Okay, so we are going over how to make the crispiest chicken thighs today. This is my all-time favorite recipe for chicken thighs. It's also the easiest recipe I've ever made for chicken thighs, and I make it probably once a week because I like it that much. So let's make it. So we're gonna start with skin on, bone-in chicken thighs. I want these for the skin. It'll get super crispy and delicious. Now for this recipe, we are gonna debone them just because most butcher shops and grocery stores don't actually sell boneless skin on chicken thighs, so it's easy to debone them. We're gonna do it ourselves. Now, the best knife for deboning is more of a utility or boning knife like this, but you can use a chef's knife as well. So it's really easy to debone. You can see here the bone comes right here. There's just one bone. You can usually see both ends, and we're just gonna work our knife to the left and the right of this bone, kind of shimmying it around. That's why a boning knife or a utility knife like this one is a lot better because it's just thinner and can easily get underneath these bones. So I'm gonna free up one side. This side's looking pretty loose over here. So free it up, and then I'm gonna use my knife and come under it and all the way through. And then grab that loose end and just work your knife down. And then once you get to the end of this bone, there's gonna be some cartilage. So just kind of cut off that cartilage and bone section. Like so. So in this recipe, you can technically keep the bone in, and that's totally fine if you're like, just don't feel like doing that. I like to remove it because one, it cooks faster, but also I just like the texture better of when it's boneless. Like I just have to do less work at the end, which I'm all about. Okay, so now that our chicken has been deboned, we are going to season it. On the skin side, all we season it with is a generous amount of kosher sea salt. And the reason we only season the skin side with salt is because we're gonna do the majority cooking on this side and pepper will burn, so we don't wanna do that. We're gonna turn it over onto a paper towel just to suck up any moisture. So salt brings water out of produce and meat, and then it'll stick to the pan. So we're just gonna make sure that doesn't happen by putting it on a paper towel. And then on the flesh side, we're gonna season with salt and ground pepper. Again, we're not cooking that much on the flesh side, so we can do pepper, it's not gonna burn. Now the pan that you're gonna wanna use is a cast iron skillet #1. It is basically non-stick, so the chicken skin is just gonna naturally release off of it and be a really nice sear. My second favorite choice of pan for this would be a carbon steel pan. It's kind of similar to a cast iron, will give you that nice sear and won't stick as much as it would for a stainless steel. I would not recommend non-stick, it's just not gonna give the browning that we're looking for. Now, we want to add the chicken skin side down in the cold cast iron. It's not gonna be on heat yet because this will allow the skin to slowly render out the fat. If you add it to a hot pan, it will instantly start cooking and then all the fat's not gonna render out. You need to cook it low and slow and bring it up to temperature. So you're gonna let it cook on this side for the majority of the time. Like I would say 80 to 90% through. You let it sit here, don't move. It doesn't need to move. The skin will naturally release when it's ready. So you'll see here, it's still sticking because that fat and that skin need to render out more, so let it go. So once the skin naturally releases and it's nice and golden brown, we flip them over. Then for flavor, I like to add rosemary, thyme, and garlic. I'm now gonna temp it with an internal meat thermometer, and I want thighs to be roughly 170s because that means the collagen and gelatin have really broken down and the texture is gonna be really yummy. And we are perfect, so we're good to pull them off the heat. And here we have the crispiest chicken thighs. Just listen to this crunch right here.